Have you ever had to deal with a sibling's jealousy? If you haven't, then you're the luckiest. My name's Chloe, and I'm the youngest of my parents' 3 kids. My elder brother Josh is 7 years older than me, and Kelly, my elder sister, is 5 years older. My parents often joked about my birth being unplanned. According to them, they hadn't planned on having another child after Josh and Kelly. My mom also wasn't aware that she was pregnant until 3 months later. Even though they were shocked, they prepared well for my birth. Josh was so excited when he saw me for the first time. But Kelly wasn't. She had hatred dancing in her eyes. My parents said I was stunning as a child. I had curly hair and a beautiful face that attracted everyone to me. But Kelly hated that. She hated how I came and took all the attention from her. She refused to hold me. She wouldn't stay in the same room as someone holding me. She began to withdraw from everyone and would hide in her room for long hours. Our parents noticed it and tried to speak to her, but Kelly lied to them that she was scared of holding me. She told them she didn't want to harm me by going close to me. My parents thought she was cute and simply encouraged her to get rid of her fear and hold me as much as she wanted. Nah. Even though Kelly didn't want to do it, she couldn't refuse our parents. When she held me for the first time, I burst out crying. No. Not because I was scared, but because Kelly pinched me. She wasn't the best big sister. As we grew, she showed even more of her hatred. I was growing to be even more beautiful, and Kelly hated it. Whenever we had visitors, they would often compliment me for being beautiful. Sometimes Kelly would butt in and shamelessly demand for them to compliment her too. Of course they would, but she still wasn't satisfied. She hated that they didn't say it first to her. I was afraid of Kelly. I didn't like to be alone with her because she never failed to seize an opportunity to harm me. Whenever Josh or our parents weren't home, I would hurry to my room and hide myself in there. If I was lucky enough to get to my room before Kelly showed up, I would escape her fists. But if I wasn't, I would have to deal with getting punished. Despite that, I never hated Kelly. I loved my sister because I thought she was ethereal. Kelly was very tall and beautiful. She was just insecure about my beauty and developed an unnecessary hatred for me because of that. When I resumed high school, Kelly was already in her senior year. Usually, younger siblings would feel happy and safe to have their older siblings as seniors in school. My case was the opposite. I was always alert. I dreaded crossing paths with Kelly. Whenever luck wasn't on my side and I did, she would pull me by my hair, push me to the floor and laugh at me, or pour milk or water on me. Everyone at school knew that Kelly didn't like me. They pitied me because they couldn't imagine being bullied by their own sisters. One day, I'd returned home later than usual because the teacher had asked us to stay back for an important announcement. It turned out to be project work, and I had to wait until I was given my partner before I could leave the school. When I got home, I met Kelly sitting on the couch. I greeted her and attempted to walk to my room because I was tired, but she stopped me.
Have you now become so bold that you stick around with boys at school and return home at your own time? You think you're going to escape doing whatever you want because of that stupid pretty face of yours?
Firstly, I was confused at the sudden accusation. Boys at school never even looked at me. They were all scared of associating with someone hated by her sister. So, why would she think I was with them? Secondly, how did my pretty face come in? I'm sorry, Kelly, but you're wrong. I was held back by the teacher because we have a new project. I certainly don't think I can get away with anything because of my beauty. I would never do that if it were possible. Kelly flared up and I immediately regretted my words.
How dare you talk back to me? Do you think you're grown now? You think you're better than me because you're prettier? I'll show you who the elder is between us.
Before I could react, Kelly slapped me on my back, which caused me to fall to the floor, rubbing my back in pain. Kelly didn't let me recover from that before she began punching me. My pleas and screams didn't seem to affect her. She punched me until she was tired. Afterward, she left me in the living room to cry my eyes out. I didn't leave that spot. I was there until my parents returned home, and they were utterly shocked to see me in that condition, with fresh wounds all over my body. I explained what Kelly had done to them, and they immediately called for her.
She returned home late and lied about having a project. Mom, Dad, Chloe has a boyfriend and spends time after school with him.
I quickly denied it. I told my parents what kept me at school and also asked them to call the school for confirmation. And when they did, it was confirmed that I was truly held back by my teacher. My parents were livid. Kelly was asked to apologize to me, which she did immediately, looking at the floor in shame. My parents quickly treated my wounds, fed me, and put me to bed. As for Kelly, her allowance was cut and she was grounded for a month. Well, as you might have guessed, that only increased her hatred for me. 2 weeks after the flogging incident, she pulled me into the school toilet and had her friends beat me up there. I came out limping, my whole body hurting. Of course, I couldn't report her to the school authorities. I didn't want her to be suspended. I was scared of what she would do to me if that happened. When my parents and friends asked why I was limping, I lied to them that I fell down the school staircase. Luckily, they believed me. Josh would protect me, but he had college to deal with. The few times he was home, I felt safe and comfortable. When he wasn't and my parents were out, Kelly got her chance. Well, time passed, and I finally got into college. I was in my second year when Kelly graduated. I didn't attend her graduation because she'd specifically asked me not to. It was a week before the graduation, and we were having dinner when she announced that she didn't want me there.
It's my graduation. I can't afford to allow anyone to steal my attention from me. Some people are heavy attention seekers, and Chloe happens to be one.
Of course, my parents were offended by her remarks, but I managed to get them to let it go. I agreed to not attend her graduation and be at home that day. Unfortunately for me, I woke up about an hour after they left and met the kitchen door locked. I was surprised because we never locked the door. I was hungry, but seeing the door locked, I knew I couldn't cook. I decided to order food, but I couldn't find my phone anywhere. I searched until I gave up on searching and decided to wait until they returned. They didn't come home until very late in the night. I got to know that Kelly took my phone because apparently she thought it was hers. She also accidentally locked the kitchen door, according to her. I ignored her apology, which had a mocking tone under it, and simply ordered food for myself. I went to bed afterward. 1 year after that happened, I met my ex-boyfriend, Jaden. Ex-boyfriend because Kelly took him from me barely a week after I introduced him to my family. She'd complimented him nonstop until I had to stop her because I felt uncomfortable. And 1 week later, Jaden had stopped picking up my calls. The day I went to his house to check up on him, I met my sister there, in a situation that told me something had happened. I was so heartbroken. Even after I left, Jaden didn't come after me, or even call me. Even worse. Kelly returned home that night. She couldn't stop mocking me and boasting about being able to steal my boyfriend even though I was prettier. I didn't tell our parents. It didn't matter. I refused to have us fight over a man. So, even the next day, I acted like nothing happened and moved on from it. I was hurt, but neither of them was worth my sadness. Perhaps Kelly wasn't impressed with my behavior. She'd probably expected me to cry and yell nonstop. And seeing that neither happened, she felt bad about it. A few months later, some friends of mine convinced me to register with a modeling agency, which I reluctantly did. That same agency was the one Kelly had been rejected before. One day, I received a call from the agency asking me to come in person. I was excited and spoke loudly, which caused Kelly to eavesdrop on my conversation, and that's how she found out I had been contacted by a modeling agency. I was shocked when Kelly came into my room the next day with 2 glasses of wine and proposed friendship between us.
I'm sorry for being unfair to you all these years. I've been a bad big sister and I apologize. Let's start afresh, okay? Forgive me for everything, Chloe.
I was so touched because it was what I'd wanted all along. I loved her and only wished for us to be like real sisters. I quickly pulled her into a hug, sobbing happily. That night, we both talked over the wine before she left my room. I'd only slept for 2 hours when a sharp pain in my abdomen forced me awake. I screamed out in pain, quickly waking up. My parents were forced to run into my room when they heard my continuous screams. By then, I was already coughing out blood. I was rushed to the hospital and it was discovered that I got poisoned. Treatment was immediate and luckily, I was saved. I was unconscious for a week, and when I finally woke up, I waited for another week to be fine before demanding for my parents' and siblings' presence. I also called the cops. I knew who poisoned me, and I didn't waste any time pointing to her. Kelly was shocked and tried to deny, but a slap from me instantly shut her up. She was shocked because I'd never shown her any reaction like that. I told everyone all she'd been doing to me. My parents and Josh were shocked to their bones when they heard about what she did with Jaden. The cops came right on time and she was arrested. She couldn't deny it. The glass of wine was found, and after investigation, it was proven that she indeed poisoned me. My parents were completely disappointed. They refused to see her. Josh gave her a piece of his mind while she was still in the police custody and swore to never speak to her again. Kelly was broken. I didn't let it go. I pressed charges against her and she was taken to court. Physical assault, attempted murder, bullying, those were her charges, and they were enough to earn her 25 years in jail. I was happy. She was alone, regretful, and devastated. A week after her trial, I visited her in prison. I guess you're all alone now. I haven't ever flaunted my beauty, but I'm going to do that now. I'm going to make you regret ever messing with me, Kelly. I did that. I went to the modeling agency and was quickly picked because of my striking beauty and figure. By the end of my last year in college, I had become a well-known model. I bought a bigger house for my parents, got one for myself, bought cars, and lived a beautiful life. Of course, Kelly knew about it. I made sure to send her updates about me monthly and reminded her how happy our parents and brothers were without her. The last time I saw her, she'd become lanky and lost all her beauty. She couldn't stop apologizing. My parents forgave her, but they rarely visited her. Josh refused to forgive or see her. As for me, she wasn't worth my forgiveness. All she was worth was viewing my success from jail.